All right, this is the video answer key for the geometry quiz review. Number one, Delilah is planning a new flower garden for the town park. The picture below shows the design for the flower garden. So here it is. It's just sort of explaining what's going on. Remember that height is going to be that number that goes straight up and down. And this 10 is just the length of this side here. And that's important, but it doesn't help us with the height part. The 8 is the height. And what we're looking for is that little square. So we know that it's square to the bottom. How many square feet will her garden occupy? So in other words, we're talking about area. How many little squares are going to be in here? So there's a formula for area of a parallelogram. If you look at your formula sheet you have during the quiz, it's area equals base times height. The base is 20 and the height is 8. And then you just multiply those two numbers and you get 160 feet squared. So that's the area of the parallelogram. Question B for this is she would like to build a wooden fence around her new garden. What is the minimum amount of fencing that she will need? So I picture this like a real situation. Like this is actually my garden. It's 10 feet by 20 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, and I'm going to put a fence around it. So if I'm putting a fence around the outside, how many feet of fence do I need here? 20. Plus how many do I need here? 10. Plus 20. Don't leave one of the sides blank, because then deer will get into your garden. Plus 10, that's 20, 40, 60 feet of fencing is what I would need to put a fence around this. Why do I not include the 8? Because I would just have, why would I want a random fence in the middle of my garden right there? Maybe if I wanted to section off this triangle from that trapezoid, but I don't need a fence in the middle. I just need it around the outside. All right, what is the circumference of the circle? So the formula for circumference is either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times radius. And I think I'll use this one because they gave me the radius. So 2 times 3.14 times 7. .43 and 9600 centimeters is the circumference. Can somebody confirm that in the group? All right, good. Because sometimes I make mistakes on these things. I don't want to make a mistake. All right, area for circles is pi times radius squared. So pi is 3.14. I have to do a little bit of work with the radius because the 4.5 is measuring the diameter. So I need to take the diameter, 4.5, and divide it by 2 in order to find the radius, which is 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 squared times pi gives me 15, and I'm going to round it to 15.9 inches squared. If you rounded it to 16, that's good. I'll accept that. The only thing that I won't accept is if you put 4.5 as the radius here. So that's a common mistake. They like to give you the diameter and not the radius. So just be careful that you're putting the right number in for the right variable. All right, page 2. Oh, a whole page of word problems. All right. Bob is covering his circular pool with a tarp to keep out the leaves. If the radius of the pool is 15 feet, about what size of tarp does he need? So if he has a circular pool and he's going to cover the pool with a tarp, that's area. So I use the area formula. So 3.14 times the radius. Well, it gave us the radius this time, which is nice. So that's 3.14 times 225. 706.5 feet. Is it feet? Yeah, feet squared. Can somebody confirm that number? Is that what you got? Good. All right, Bob's putting up a fence around his, again, a circular horse pen. I always draw it just because it gives me a visual of what I'm doing. So if I'm going to put a fence up around this, that's called circumference. Circumference formula is called pi, whereas pi times the diameter, and they gave me the diameter, so that's a good formula to use. You could also use 2 times pi times radius. You'll get the same answer. .6 feet. About how many diameters will equal the circumference of a circle. So here's the circle. The circumference is around the outside. How many diameters, which is this, will go around the circle? And we talked about this. It's a special ratio, and we know it's special circles. So this line, this diameter, will go around the circle 3.14 times. Actually, 3.141, whatever the rest of the number is, times. And it doesn't matter how small or large the circle is. So what is the ratio to find pi? How do we know what pi is? What can we divide? What would our ratio be? If we take the diameter and we divide it by the circumference, sorry, that is wrong. If we take the circumference and we divide it by the diameter, we will get pi. Circumference divided by diameter equals pi.
So there's like a purple remediation folder that she needs you to put in our school.
Okay. Let me pause this. All right, that's the end of video 1.